Hello, hi, Bill. Morning.
Morning, Venkatesh.
Good morning, Venkatesh. Okay, so quickly let's start the session. So today we'll be covering regarding the consignment. First, we'll try to cover the consignment process, which is also the special procurement. So in part of special procurement, we have seen how STO works or subcontracting works, and this is the other special procurement, which is consignment. Let me share my screen now. Let me know if you see my screen now.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So today's topic will be consignment. This is not a big topic, it is a small topic. So first, let me explain what is, or let's understand what is consignment. Some call it as consignment, some call it as vendor consignment. Both are same. Can someone tell what is the meaning of consignment? If you know what is consignment, a general meaning of consignment. You would have heard this word somewhere. The consignment is coming. So what is the consignment? What is the general meaning of consignment? Anyone?
Goods delivery.
Okay. The goods coming to the warehouse. So now we call it as consignment is nothing but the goods coming to the warehouse. When the goods are coming to the warehouse, they say the consignment is coming to the warehouse. And here we call this consignment as a vendor consignment. So why are we calling this as a vendor consignment is, let me take an example. Think that you have a warehouse. This is your warehouse. Okay. You store all the goods in your warehouse. Here, think that you have, this is your company code and this is your warehouse and you have multiple plants in this company code. These are your plant 1, plant 2, plant 3, plant 4. Okay. So this is your company. This is your warehouse. You are doing a warehouse business and you're also doing purchasing and you have a big warehouse. And under that warehouse, you have different plants. So these are your plants. So one can be your manufacturing plant, one can be your purchasing plant, one can be your service plant. So you can take an example of your plant, whatever you can do from these plants. And here at this step, I have this space which is left empty. I'm not doing any task here. This space is left empty. So I have a future plan of building other plants here. But as of now, I'm not doing anything here. This area, which is left, which is kept empty, can be given to the vendor. Can be given to the vendor. Now, let me take another example. Why are we giving this space to vendor? Now, think that vendor is also having a manufacturing plant. This is vendor manufacturing plant. Vendor is manufacturing the material here, but he don't have any warehouse to store the material. Okay, vendor does not have any warehouse to store the material here. He keeps on manufacturing. He has the warehouse, but his warehouse is very small and he can store only some items here. But from this vendor, we are expecting lots to be delivered. In that case, vendor will not be able to store the material to deliver us. So what we are doing here, this space is left empty. So what we do, we give this space to vendor. So vendor can store his goods here. So vendor is going to manufacture the goods from his factory, and he is going to transport the material from his factory to this place, and he can store here. Okay, this area is given to the particular vendors, which are the selected vendors. And in this area, what vendor does is vendor is going to store the material what he is producing in his factory. He'll produce the material in the factory, he'll put in a truck and ship it to the warehouse, and he's going to stock the material in our warehouse. Okay, so whenever he is going to store the material in his warehouse, we are not responsible for his material. He's just storing the material, we are just giving the space. Stock would be appearing in our warehouse, saying that this is not your stock, this is the vendor stock. He is storing in your warehouse. In SAP system also, we will be able to see the stock in MMBE, the stock overview, but it will be shown as the vendor stock. It will not be showing as unrestricted stock. It will be showing as vendor stock. So that is nothing but the vendor consignment. Vendor consignment is nothing but vendor is going to store the material in our warehouse, and we are not the owners of the stock. The vendor is still the owner of the stock. Okay, so why are we doing this? So I said that vendor is not having space in his warehouse. He is manufacturing because of he don't have space, and he is giving the material to us for storing. Why are we doing this? As we have so much of space, we are wasting so much of space. In this space, if I build a plant, I can do more business. Instead of that, why I'm giving this space to vendor? As of now, I don't have plan of building the plant. That might be one reason. And the second reason is the material which vendor is storing here are the fast movers. So now, for example, now whenever we place a purchase order to vendor, vendor will tell that he need some 10 days or 50 days as lead time. Whenever you place an order, he will ask you 10 days to 15 days of lead time. If the stock is in your warehouse, whenever you need the stock, you can directly take the stock from your warehouse and pay the vendor. The stock is in your hand. You can use whenever you need. So what are the advantages of vendor consignment? You will have the visibility. You will have the visibility of the stock. You can plan accordingly when the production should start, when to deliver to customer. You don't want to wait for vendor to deliver the material. You will have the stock in your warehouse. There is a main advantage. You will know how much stock is there. You will be able to see in system also. You don't want to go into warehouse and count how much stock you have. You can see the stock value, stock quantity, everything in system. Okay, and you don't want to monitor stock, or you don't want to follow up with vendors for the stock. Okay, and you can plan your production accordingly. So visibility is the main advantage. Then you will know how much stock you have in your warehouse, and based on that you can do your planning. You don't want to follow up with vendor, and you don't want to monitor. So you're getting so much of advantages. That is the reason you are giving this space to vendor for stocking his items. So this is called as the vendor consignment. Okay, as now I said that whenever you're transporting the material from one place to other place, you need some document. You need some document. So how vendor is going to send the material from his warehouse to our warehouse for stocking? So now here, what we will be doing is we will be placing the purchase order. The warehouse persons will place a PO saying that I'm procuring the material. Okay. So how we are placing the purchase order? We are placing the purchase order with the item category as K. How we are placing a purchase order for subcontracting with item category L? We are placing an STO with item category U. We are placing a consignment order with the item category as K, stating that I am not purchasing this material for my own use as of now. I am placing a purchase order to get the material from vendor and stock it in my warehouse. And I'm clearly telling vendor, in this purchase order, I'm not going to pay anything. I'm placing this purchase order for your just transportation proof. And I'm also telling vendor, I will not be paying to this stock which you're stocking in my warehouse. I'll be paying this amount whenever I take the material and use it. Okay. For example, he's stocking some 1,000 pieces here. When he's stocking 1,000 pieces, I'll not pay for 1,000 pieces. So I'm going to have an agreement with him that you supply me the material, you store in my place, and I would be paying you whenever I am consuming it. So what I'm doing, we are making sure that we are having a cash in our hand and material availability in our place. So you have the material in your warehouse and even you have the cash. So you have the material in your warehouse, you also have the cash. You are getting the material without the payment. That is one of the biggest advantage. Without paying, you have the material in your stock, right? So our supply chain will not stop by making sure that materials are not available. The production is not getting stopped saying that material is not available. Whenever you need the material, we can have ready at the point of time. We are having visibility on it, as I mentioned. But still, as I mentioned, you will not be paying when these material are purchased. I'll be paying only when this material are consumed. When I'm taking the material from this place and I'm using it for my production purpose, only then you'll be paying it. Okay. So this is the advantage of the consignment. So this is basically a consignment process. Okay. Any questions here?
Hi Venkatesh. So suppose if I consume some 1,000 pieces, then should I create a PO for 1,000 and pay them, or how does it work?
No. When you're using 1,000 pieces, as I mentioned, the stock is going to be in your warehouse with the vendor name. You need to transfer that name to your name and then pay the vendor. You're not going to place another purchase order for this.
Hi Venkatesh. Are these, let us suppose LK, are these standards used for, suppose K is used for vendor consignment. So in all the ERP system, is this a standard or just an recipe?
This is a standard SAP, and this flow and process is completely standard.
I mean, the process is completely standard, but the use of letters, for example, L and K, are these only for SAP or you can use it in other systems also like Oracle?
In other ERP system also it is available. I have seen this in Oracle.
Okay.
Venkatesh, suppose if we don't consume all the materials which are sent by vendor. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, is there any such case?
Yeah, if you are not consuming all the material which are sent by vendor or storing by vendor, in that case, you can still stock it if you need, or vendor can still take the stock from our warehouse if he need to deliver to the other person. So that should be mentioned in the terms and condition. For example, he's sending 1,000 pieces for stocking, and in this 1,000 pieces, you're only using 500 pieces in 1 year, and 500 pieces are still kept as is, and you'll be using it later on. If you're still confident that your production might come, then you can stock it in your warehouse. If you're not sure that these 500 pieces are going to be used by you, then you can ask vendor, I'm not going to use any material going forward. If you require, you can take it back. So that can be done. But in most of the cases, the vendor will not take back because he is going to produce for this business sake and he's stocking here. So that depends on the terms and condition what we have with the vendor and supplier. Sorry, vendor and buyer.
Hello, Venkatesh. Good morning.
Yes.
I have a doubt. Like, what about the shelf life of the product? If the shelf life of the product is only for 1 year, and if our project is delayed by 2 or 3 more years, so there is no point in keeping the product in our warehouse, right?
Yes, that is also one of the concerns. So if the shelf life is there and we have the expiry of that material, in that case, there is a terms and condition which business and vendor is going to have. If the shelf life of the material is more than 1 year or 2 years, then they will be stocking it in the warehouse. If the shelf life is short term, then they will not be taking this material into account.
Okay, thank you.
And the material which is getting damaged in our warehouse, for example, they're stocking the material in our warehouse, and if it's getting damaged or it is getting expired in our warehouse, then we are not responsible. That should be clearly mentioned in the terms and condition. That is a part of negotiation.
That's a part of the term contract, right?
Yes, the terms and contracts and the negotiation.
Okay.
Any more questions? If no questions, then let me speak about the flow, how the consignment flow works. Okay. So as I mentioned, from our side, we'll be placing a purchase order first with an item category K. Purchase order will be required to get the material from vendor, as I mentioned, for the transport. Vendor will be supplying the materials against this PU. Transport happens. Okay. In this case, the transport might be handled by vendor or transport might be handled by business. That is also depends on the negotiation. As in most of the cases, as it is vendor material, he would be supplying the material straight from against the purchase order. So from our side, we will be doing the goods receipt. this goods receipt is going to be non-valuated. You all know what is non-valuated. This goods receipt is going to be non-valuated. We'll be still using the movement type 101. But when you do 101 movement type, you will have only the material document, no accounting document, because it is a non-valuated. That means only the stock is getting updated. No transaction or no accounts are getting affected. Okay. Post this, there is no invoice, nothing. You place a purchase order, the vendor is going to transport it, and it is coming to your warehouse. You are doing a goods receipt using 101 movement type, and only the material document is getting posted, no accounting document. Okay. Now, he's stocking some 1,000 pieces, for example. Now we need some material for the consumption. So I take 100 pieces for the consumption. So how the consumption is going to happen? There are multiple ways to do the consumption. Okay, when you do the goods receipt, here this goods receipt, the stock is going on falling under the store location, but it will clearly say that, or clearly mention that it is a vendor stock, as I mentioned. Okay, and even this stock can be monitored or mentored by vendor. Okay, and now I need 100 pieces. I need to do the consumption. As I mentioned, consumption can happen in multiple ways. You can directly consume this stock through a production order if you're doing internal production. If you have any production order, you can directly give the stock to the production order and they can consume it. Okay, or the material can be transferred from one storage location to another storage location, or you can move the material from vendor stock to the own stock. When I say own stock, the stock can be transferred from vendor stock to unrestricted stock, which is the business stock. So here we have the movement type 411K. Using this 411K, we are going to transfer the stock from vendor stock to the own stock. So that would be considered as a consumption. When you are moving the stock from vendor stock to your stock, that is also consumed as a consumption. When this transfer is happening, when you are transferring the material to the production order, when you are transferring the material to the sales order or to their own stock, that is nothing but unrestricted. In this case, the financial documents gets created and even the material document gets created. Whenever you have a financial document, only at that point of time, it will trigger for the payment. Now you need to pay the amount to the vendor, not for the 1,000 pieces, which you did GR. You're going to pay only for the 100 pieces where you have the financial document getting generated. Okay, so here we are not going to post the invoice manually. For consignment, there is an option called settlement. So we need to do the settlement. With this settlement, we will pay the vendor. This is nothing but you are posting the invoice document, but you are not posting the invoice document manually. You are going to the transaction and you're doing a settlement. The transaction is MRKO. You will go to this transaction and you will post the settlement. Okay. I already took an example. Let's say the supplier supplied 1,000 pieces of material and you just consumed 100 pieces. So system will show 200 pieces are consumed and 200 pieces are reduced from this 1,000 pieces. In vendor stock, you will only have 900 pieces. And vendor can check this or monitor this, stating that, okay, I've transferred or I shipped 1,000 pieces to the business and I stocked 1,000 pieces. But now I can see only 900 pieces in vendor stock. So I need to get the payment for 100 pieces. So they will do the settlement for this, and a document will get created. Against that document, the payment to the vendor will happen. Okay, so this is how the flow works. We will see in system how are we going to run one complete consignment cycle. Before that, any questions? In the meanwhile, I'll log into SAP. No, materials are not supplied with any document. Materials are supplied without any document. That is the reason I said there is no invoice when vendor is supplying the goods. The invoice will get generated only when we are consuming the material to our own use.
And how is the communication then once the material is taken from the storage to the production line? Uh, who does the communication? Is it done through SCP or some person is responsible for it?
So every month, the stock details are sent to the supplier through an email.
Okay, it's not done on daily basis or whenever the material is
No,
transported to production line.
no. If you need, you can trigger an output. Whenever you're doing a transfer posting, you can trigger an output. So output can be configured for goods receipt. Output can be configured for transfer posting. Once you do a transaction, a document gets created and that documents can be sent to vendor whenever you do a transfer posting.
Okay, thank you. And if the vendor is storing the material at our location, then the first priority is given to us.
Yes, not the first priority. He should surely sell the material to you. If we don't want the material, then he can give it to the other vendors, sorry, other customers.
Okay, I mean, but if I want it and the other vendors also want it, priority will be given to me, right?
Not the priority. He's stocking the material in your warehouse because you are going to get the material. You are going to take the material from the stock. If he is going to give to the
Okay,
other customer, then he is going to store in his warehouse, not in our warehouse. He is not giving the rent for the place what he is stocking. We are giving the place free of cost.
okay.
In that case,
So
he can sell the material to the other customers.
okay, so it's on the contract like minimum MOQs
Yeah.
that we must order. Okay, and then okay, thank you.
Okay. If no questions, then we'll go into system and create the consignment process. Before that, I create a material. So I'm creating a material because I have to take the material which is not in stock, to be clear. This is a consignment material. We are the base unit of measure. Okay, the material got created. This is the material number. Now, whenever this material is created, I'll go to MME and check for this material. As of now, I don't have any stock. Okay, I'll keep the screen open. And now, for this material, we need to create the purchase info record. Purchase info record is the mandatory for this consignment process, because whenever you are doing a settlement, as I said, here we don't post the invoice, we do the settlement. So whenever we post an invoice, when our finance is going to post the invoice, they have a lot of manual entries which need to be entered. Like they need to enter the invoice code, they need to enter the GR-based invoice verification, they need to enter the price. So all these things are going to enter manually by finance people. As here we are following the settlement process, all these information should be fetched automatically from the backend. The backend is the PIR. So I go to PIR, put the material, I'll take the supplier, purchase org, plant, and here you need to mention this is a consignment process. Okay. So I fill this. And here we have the mandatory fields of tax code. Tax code is mandatory here. And the net price is mandatory because whatever price you maintain in the purchase info record, that is the value of the material which you will be paying to the vendor. So if I maintain 20 here, so you will be paying only 20 rupees per quantity to the vendor. Okay. Better good conditions. Check if you have the condition line created here and then save it. So this is your PIR. Now vendor has called me and said that the stock is ready for the pickup, or vendor is ready to send the material. So in that case, I'll create the material, I'll create the PO. I'll go to ME21. I'll put the supplier. Okay. Material, plant. Now, when I put the quantity, I'm going to buy 1,000 pieces, for example. This is the normal purchase order. System is asking me for the price. But when I enter the item category as K is nothing but consignment. K is nothing but consignment. If I open consignment and click on enter, this net price is getting freezed out. Because when you are going to get the material from vendor, you are just not buying the material, you are just getting the material for stocking purpose. At this time, you're not going to pay the vendor. So that is the reason the purchase order of consignment will get created with the price of 0. Okay, so I'll save this. This is the purchase order. Now I'll go and do the goods receipt. Okay, find 80,000. Where? I'm going to store it in the store location. Item okay. Check and post. I posted this, and if I open this document which got posted, I'll only see the material document, which is this. This is the material document. And if I go and find the accounting document, I will not find any accounting document because I am just updating the stock. I'm not updating the value of the material because here we are doing the non-valuated goods receipt. Okay. Now if I go to the MMB and refresh it, I will have 1,000 pieces of stock, but this stock is under vendor consignment. That means whenever you have the stock in, this is your store location, this is your company code, this is your plant, this is your store location. Whenever the stock is in this line, that means the stock is your stock, the company stock. As the stock is not in this line, the stock is in this line, the vendor consignment. That means you are not the owner of the stock. The vendor is the owner of the stock. So which vendor? If you double click on this stock, you will be able to see this supplier is the owner of the stock. So you are just posting a goods receipt with non-valuated, no financial document. In that case, no value is getting updated. This stock value is not in our system. Stock value is still in vendor system. The stock owner is vendor. We are not the stock owner. We are just stocking the material in our warehouse. That is the reason we only see the stock value under vendor consignment. And you can also see the vendor name here. But this stock does not have value in our business. Now, you need 100 pieces from this stock for some process. So in that case, you can directly give it. So think that one person is coming and asking me that I need 100 pieces of this material. I'll give my cost center number. So take the money from the cost center and give me the stock. Now, let me ask one question. So we already covered inventory management. We already covered automatic account determination. If someone need material against cost center, using which movement type are we going to post the goods receipt or goods issue? Sorry, it's a goods issue. If someone is coming and asking, I need a material against my cost center, and I'm giving my cost center number, using which movement type the warehouse person is going to issue the goods? Movement type, please. Which movement type are we going to use to issue the goods against cost center? As if you don't have idea, just mention you don't have idea. Because I covered this movement type a lot of time. Okay. So to issue the goods, we'll be using the moment type 201. 201 is a moment type which is used to issue the goods for the cost center. So I go to goods issue. I use the 201 moment type. Okay. And I put the material. I use the moment type 201 to issue the goods for the cost center. But now I need to issue the goods from the vendor consignment. So I'll put additionally the K as special stock. So I need to issue the goods from the special stock. So I'll put the material. Sorry. I'll be issuing 100 pieces. 201K. From which plant? From this plant. From this store location. From which vendor? From this vendor. And I'll put the cost center, to which cost center I want to issue. I'll check. There is an account assignment issue. So I will resolve that. Set. Okay, I'm posting it. And I issued 100 pieces to the cost center from vendor consignment. If I go and check the stock now, if I just refresh, the quantity got changed to 900 because 100 pieces I directly gave to the cost center owner. So if I go and check the display, this is the transfer posting, but this is a goods issue. If I go to the document info and go to FI documents, now you will have the financial document getting affected. This is a financial document. You have KON from where the stock is getting subtracted. You have GBP where the stock is getting increased against the cost center. This is a price difference. Okay. Now, from where this 2000 is coming? I said that the 2000 amount is getting subtracted. From where this 2000 is coming? So I issued 100 pieces and the amount which got subtracted is 2000. So for each piece, it is taking as 20 rupees. If you remember, in the purchase info record, we maintained the price as 20 rupees. I'm going to show that. Here you can see the price is 20. So I issued 100 quantity. 100 into 20 is 2000. So that is the reason 2000 is getting subtracted. Now if I go to MRKO, MRKO is the transaction to do the settlement. I'll put the supplier. I'll put the plant. I'll put the material also. And if I click on display and execute, I can see there is one document which is not getting settled. It is not settled. You have the material document here, 1561. So that 1561 will match here, 1561. That means whenever you are transferring the material from vendor stock to your own stock, or you're giving it to the sales order, or you're giving to the any production order, then whenever this document gets posted, then an entry gets created here in the system. So now if you want to do the settlement, so you here also have 2000. You need to pay 2000 to the vendor because 20 rupees is coming from PIR. You issued 100 pieces, 100 into 20 is 2000. So now how you can settle this? So I'll go back, I'll select this settle and execute. then you will see a document getting created. This is the document. If I click on this document, so this is a document which got created. This is a finance document. And this got settled. Whenever you see a document created, that means this document got created and you have settled this. And this also can be sent through an output and message output. And this invoice also can be sent to the supplier. Okay, any questions?
Nitish, if we don't require the stock future, so that vendor can move that stock to his storage location, right? So at that time, we need to release another PO, or like another PO with key this thing, or it is like just like that he'll take it over.
Yeah, we need to create a written PO and return it back.
Okay, but with the same procedure, right? No value.
No.
No.
And this settlement will be done by the accounts team, right? And FICO.
Sorry?
The amount settlement thing will be done by, it will be executed by the accounts team, right? And FICO.
Yes, that will be done by accounts team, yes.
Can you please explain this settlement again?
Settlement is nothing but posting an invoice. So whenever you buy a material, whenever you get a material from Amazon, for example, he will send you the invoice. And seeing the invoice, you're paying the vendor, right? You are paying the Amazon person. In the same way, here in this consignment process, the invoice is not sent because vendor does not know that when we are consuming this material, when we are taking this stock, and when we are using this stock. In that case, SAP has given, you don't want to contact every time to supplier and going and asking him, I'm using so many quantities, send the invoice so that I can use it. So that is going to stop your production for some time. That is the reason SAP has created this transaction, MRKO, which is called a settlement. So whenever you take the stock from vendor stock, that transaction is getting recorded through a financial document, and that will keep on adding here. There is no condition that you should post this settlement every day. Normally, what business does is they do weekly once. So they take stock daily and they post this document weekly once. And when the document gets created, from that day, you will have the terms of payment, or payment terms. So based on that, the payment happens to the vendor. So this is a document. You will be seeing the document getting created in Miro. So there is a transaction called Miro. In this Miro, you will be putting your PO number, all the information, and you will be posting it, and that will create document. The same way, better than doing this document, you are creating a document directly here.
So it's get auto created in this.
Yes.
Thank you, Nitish.
Yeah. Any more questions? Okay. So if no questions, then we will move to the next topic, which is a split valuation. Let me reshare my screen. The next topic is the split valuation. So the split valuation, let me write it down. Split valuation. So what is the split valuation? Split valuation is nothing but you are going to validate your materials in a different criteria. So like, for example, think that I have material, any material, and I have different quantity, different quality. So when I discuss regarding the construction-based industry, so whenever in construction-based industry, as I mentioned, we discuss regarding the concrete. Okay. In concrete, there are different grade of concrete. So I said that we have M40 concrete, M60 concrete. So we have different types of concrete, different grades of concrete. So in that case, now I said that we have concrete. Concrete is the material. We have different quality. So in this case, now one question, if we have different grade of concrete, are we going to create different materials or not? M40 will be material 1, M60 will be material 2, M50 will be material 3. Are we going to create like this or how?
Yes, we do create separately.
Okay. So normally, yes, we create this material of different grade into a different material. M40 will be one material, M60 will be one material, 150 will be one material. If one business is having such cases, 10,000 such cases, in this case, it is going to be 3 variants. So into 3. So 30,000 materials. In place of 10,000 materials, you're creating 30,000 materials because as the grade is different. So to make this reduced, we have a concept called a split valuation. This is not only helping in different grades of material, this is also going to help if you're buying the material import or export, or if you're doing if you're doing a production internally or buying externally, or if you're buying a new material or old material. So in all the cases, you're going to create a new material. So to reduce that effort, there is a concept called split valuation. What this split valuation will do is, this split valuation will create a material. For example, I'm creating a concrete as a material. and I can extend this same material to different grades. Different grades. But we cannot have different purchasing view. We cannot have different basic data view. Whatever views you have in Material Master, we cannot have any views of it. The only view which we can have is the accounting view. For each and every material, you can have different accounting view, because here I said we have concrete. We have 3 grades of concrete: M40, M60, and M50. So if the grade is getting changed, the price is getting changed. So how we can differentiate the price? The price can be differentiated using the accounting view. So when you're using split valuation, for each and every grade, for each and every valuation type, we call it as valuation type in SAP terminology. Whenever you have different valuation type, you can have different valuation class, you can have different price. Okay, now what is valuation type? Valuation type is nothing but, if you have material, concrete, for example, first thing, you have 2 price control. As you know, you have standard price control, you have moving average price control. So split valuation will manage to handle any price condition. For M40, you can have standard. For M50, you can have moving average. Okay. The only thing is you need to create this valuation type and differentiate it through when you're extending the material for the different views. So split valuation is going to help you to segregate all the variants which material has. Okay. Any questions here?
No, English.
Okay. If no questions, we can quickly jump to system and see how the split valuation is going to work. So let me reshare my screen. So to do the split valuation, we have a configuration. So split valuation can be configured. To configure split valuation, I'll go to SPR, reference IMG, material management. This is going to come under inventory management, or I don't remember, it is valuation account, valuation account assignment. Here you have the split valuation. So if I expand the split valuation, here you have the configuration of split valuation. Some business might use split valuation. Some business might not use split valuation. So for this, SAP has given an option to activate and deactivate the split valuation. So that can be done here. You can activate or keep it non-active. Okay. And you can also activate and deactivate the split valuation at the material type level, at the plant level. Give me a second. So configure split valuation, execute it. So here we have the configuration of split evaluation segregated into 3 sections. One is global types, global categories, and the local definition. So first, let's speak about the global type. So what is global type? Global type is nothing but the valuation type. So you are going to tell system that in how many categories are we going to have this material depicted. So if I go to global types first, here you can create what grade you have for this material. For example, let me see if there is any grade created. Okay, there are some grades created here. Let me use the same one. So we have grade 1, grade 2. Okay, let me use these two. If you want, if you want to create, you can delete everything and you can create. I'm not bothered about this config. So if you want, you can delete anything and create it here. Okay, if I want to delete, I can click on this line, click on delete. This will delete. Delete. Click on this, delete, and delete. If you want to create now, click on create, put the name, create one. And are we going to do this external purchase or internal purchase? Because external purchase is whenever you want to buy it from outside, you can maintain the external purchase. Or if you want to do it internal, then you can external purchase are allowed. If you want to do internal, you can also select the internal. Okay, I'll also select the internal purchase is allowed. And account category reference. This is very important. So this grade, for each and every grade, you can have one account assignment. You can differentiate the valuation class also. So I'll take this as 0001 and click on create and save. The same way you can create multiple grades. I'll go back, again click on create and tell grade 2. Okay, you can have different account assignment category. I can tell this and create. Now you created 2 valuation type. So the material can be differentiated into 2 categories. One is grade 1 and grade 2. Okay, so if you have multiple grades, you can keep on creating multiple grades. Give me a second. Okay, so I created 2 grades. That is the valuation type, or you can call it as global type. Second thing is the global categories. You can create a category saying that this global type should fall under which category. So there are some categories created, 25 categories created. So if I scroll down, you can see all the alphabets are used. Let me find V is not used, so let me create it. Let me create it. Put V here, enter, create. I just created the valuation category. Okay, and kept it aside. Nothing is here, no name, nothing. Now for this valuation type, assign the category. So now we created some grades, right? So scroll down, you will find some grades created, grade 1 and grade 2 here. For this, activate this grade. For this category, only these 2 grades should be visible. Okay, I'm saving this. Now the last config. This is done. Now the last config. Local definition. Here you don't want to do anything. You will be able to see your plant automatically coming in. As soon as your plant is created, your plant will come here. So let me show my plant, which is here. And you can see local types here, local categories here. Categories will be OU. Here, we don't want anything. Okay, so let me see where is the grade B. So activate this also. Okay, and see. So this is a simple configuration. You are creating multiple grades. Okay, now if I go back and try to create a material, now I'll be able to create a material, one material, and I can extend that material for the different grades. Okay, before I move to create a material, any questions here? Okay, if no questions, then I'll create a material. I got M01, enter. Here, I'm going to select the same views, accounting, org level, plant and the stored location. This is split valuation material. Material group, basement of measure. Now, in the accounting view, you will find this valuation category. So this need to be filled. So I'll fill this with B. Okay, and I'll put the valuation class as 3000 as of now. Click enter. Standard price. The price of the material as of now, I'm giving it as 10 and saving it. So why, what happened? Only pricing B. Okay, for split valuation, only pricing, moving average is allowed. So I'll select moving average. Okay, I save this material. This is a material. So now this material, assume that this material is a parent material. Under this parent material, you have 3 child material. Okay, now if I want to create a child material under this parent material, so I need to go to MM01 again, put the material number, click on enter, just select the accounting view. Just select the accounting view and click on org level, the plant. Now you will see the valuation type coming here. So select the valuation type, nothing but grade 1 and grade 2. So whatever valuation type you assign in the backend for B, for example, we created the valuation category as B. So how many categories, sorry, how many valuation type you have assigned to that category? So all will be visible here. So I'll select grade 1, enter. It will directly take me to the accounting view. You can have the different valuation class for this. So I can have 3003, anything. I'll put this. Okay, enter. You can have a different price. So I can say that I'm going to have the price of 20 for this grade, and I'm going to save. Now for the grade 2, I'll go again. I'll go to accounting 2 view, accounting 1 view, org level, plant. Now I'll select grade 2. Whenever you maintain the value, it will create X here. That is nothing but the grade is created. Now I'll go to the grade 2 and I'll maintain different evaluation class for this, different price for this. Okay, so this is how we can create one material and extend the same material number for different grades. So initially, what was the question? So can we have one different grade of material in a single material? So we had answer saying that we need to create different material for different grades to differentiate the pricing, to differentiate the valuation, to differentiate the description, all those things. But now using the split valuation, using one material, you can extend this for different valuation category or different grades. Now, while purchasing also, for example, if you want to purchase, if I go to ME21N, and if you go to MMBE also, you can see the stock value in different grade. So if I have the stock, I'll show you. I'll create a purchase order. Where I'll put the material, plant, quantity. I don't have the PIR maintained. Okay, you see here, system is giving you a warning saying that in case of split valuation, please enter the valuation type. As of now, this is giving us a warning. You can convert this warning into error and keep error saying that whenever the split valuation is coming, split valuation material is purchased, this field should be mandatory. So I'll go here. Now I can say I'm going to buy grade 1 material. Okay, system is saying the material price is 20. Now I'll add the same material in the second line. I'm going to buy only 50 pieces with the price of 50. Okay. And the valuation type will be grade 2. I'll check and I'll see. So I'm creating a PO, two POs, one with grade 1 and grade 2. Now I'll do the goods receipt. So I'll take the purchase order number, go to the transaction we go. Okay. I will also be able to see the valuation type coming here, grade 1 and grade 2. Item okay. Material 2, item okay. Quantity 50. Where is store location? For line 1 also, I'll put the store location. I'll check this. I'll have the valuation issues. I'll get this figured out. WRX. IND1 and 3040. Okay. The same way I'll also ask for BSX. For sure it'll ask for BSX. So I'll maintain the BSX also. Okay. Now I'll go and post the goods receipt. Okay, I posted this. Now if I go and see the stock value, the material is having 150 stock, but it is divided into grade 1 and grade 2. So by this way, you can differentiate the grades of the material by using the single material number. And the payment also can be done using different accounts, because in OBYC, I had 2 valuation classes. For 2 valuation classes, I can have 2 accounts. For grade 1, I can pay from one account. For grade 2, I can pay from other account. So this is how we can have multiple variants of material in a single material number. Okay, any questions?
Is it possible to view that is there any material which has so many grades? Is there any particular transaction?
Yes, there was an transaction where you can see the stock, the grade, but I'm not sure which transaction it is. I need to find the transaction. Let me see if this gives, this does not give, I know. But there is one transaction. Okay, here you have. This material is the parent material. Under this, you have these 2, grade 1 and grade 2. MM60 only is giving you. Any questions?
So split valuation is basically for having a raw material with variants. For example, if there is a battery which has 60 volts, 38 ampere, and one battery is 60 volts, 26 amperes, so we can make PO of both the batteries with same material number.
Yes, yes. Any question? Okay. If no questions, then we'll wrap up here and we'll meet evening to discuss on the level 2 topic. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat.
Thank you so much, Venkatesh.
Thank you, Venkatesh.